All right. Welcome everybody to another edition of Boston Concessions. I am your host Topher. We are live tonight on YouTube as normal. It is just a little before midnight. So we actually kicked off the show a little bit early, which is great. We do have a plethora, and I mean plethora, of stuff to actually cover. Some of the hits with the Red Sox and everything like that just keep on going. The Celtics made a miraculous little spot there. The NBA is completely baffling. The NFL is getting completely insane with quarterbacks. And of course, we're going to try something also new. So let's get to it, shall we? First off, hopefully everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day. It was Sunday. I want to wish my mom a very, very happy Mother's Day. I would not be here doing wonderful things on this podcast if not for that woman. Between the lovely stories of the Bruins when I was a kid, to just throwing the ball around in the backyard, to basically teaching me everything I know about sports, everything that basically comes in contact with a lot of things I do. So, to my mom, I love you and thank you. And to all the moms out there, from sports moms to non-sports moms to just moms that are there to put the Band-Aid on the knee after it's scraped. The one who knows this will only sting a little bit and you sting the crap out of the child. Thank you for being the most supportive backbone that those kids will ever have. Well, some of them will have a little more, but you came from them. And therefore, when you come from your mom, you are very special and important. So thank you, moms. All over the place. All right. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. I can't even tell you or fathom what my weekend was like. I think the throw off was the midday Celtics ball game and trying to figure out what the hell in high water was going on. Because when you have a game that's midway, there's something aspect about it like that's just, it throws you off. You're so used to the games at night. I'm not really used to NBA games in the afternoon unless it's an outsourced game. Not the Celtics so much. So when you're here in Boston, it's 7:30, 8:30. You get that low grade night start. It's not too bad. This was a 3:30 game that didn't really sit well because it was still, hey, it's midday. What am I doing? Oh, wait, Celtics are on. So I kind of did an abundance of things early in the day, got certain things situated, and then all of a sudden at night, by 4:15, 4:20, I'm like, oh, wait, Celtics are on. Crap. And then you turn it on. But we'll get into them a little bit. So that was just basically over the weekend. A lot of announcements, things that were heavily announced. Especially one of the things I kind of want to get into. So May 10th, it's announced. Derek Carr, New Orleans Saints quarterback, 34-year-old guy. Great dude. Looking forward to everything. Like, as he's coming back from injury, he's going to set the tone now for everything in New Orleans. The tone is a little different now down in the Bayou, as Derek Carr announced his retirement. It's shocking. But looking at the stats, medical scans stated that Carr sustained a labral tear and also degenerative change in his rotator cuff. So playing in 2025 was not basically going to have an outcome. The news of Carr's injury was the New Orleans Saints were waiting for. So they basically had some time when they found out last month. Carr came up, announced it to the fact that, like, listen, I'm not going to put anything in jeopardy. I can't play. Which stinks because Derek Carr needed a little bit more substance. He kind of like got off-roaded, as I would put it, playing for the Raiders, especially with all the stuff that basically comes with it. I mean, it's the Raiders. So before the Tom Brady purchase, before, like, the whole shebang of everything, there was Derek Carr trying to subside with the Raiders. He came in, did his thing. He was looking to be just the man to do a job. Didn't really go over as planned. We also break down a lot of other things that went along the way. Well, you had a horrible coach who's now our offensive coordinator. Hey. But there was an abundance of other things that go along with. Derek made the transition now to New Orleans, and it was clean slate, fresh start. Almost similar to Alex Smith. When he left San Francisco to actually join the Kansas City Chiefs, it kind of sparked a little bit difference in the quarterback's mind. Derek Carr was trying to do exactly that. Get a fresh look, get a fresh start. Unfortunately, plagued with injury and everything that came about. Let's put it this way. Throwing a ball with a rotator cuff that's degenerative is not really good. It's similar also, maybe off the point of, like, maybe not the same injury, but the degenerative aspect that Peyton Manning had near the end of his career. But he was also told to the fact that he was not in any which way going to be throwing the ball as he did. And yes, Peyton Manning wasn't the same quarterback when he was with Denver. So, to put it, Derek Carr kind of made life a little easier, not only for the Saints, but for himself as well. The Saints right now have 3 quarterbacks, young kids. Can that change the aspect? Yes. Because now you can focus on 3 young kids that'll basically take the reins, try to make everything go in New Orleans. But as far as Derek Carr is concerned, there's wondering upon, like, hey, what's he going to do? Considering he's 34 years of age, and Derek Carr was a really good quarterback. I'm not saying to the fact he was garbage. Just basically had a bad rap. It's how I myself view Joey Harrington when you actually talk about him. Joey Harrington was a good quarterback college-wise. Was he ruined by the NFL? Probably not. He was just ruined by, well, let's face it. He was ruined by the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, you can say it with any aspect, because the writing was on the wall, even with Barry Sanders and even Calvin Johnson. At the time, not the current Lions team, but the de facto previous teams were basically studded garbage. You had a GM that didn't really care. He just wanted a product on the field. They weren't winners. They were crap. And Joey Harrington was basically the icicle thrown in the mix. Was he good? He had moments. Was he also something that lacked star power, lacked something that could actually motivate the team? Yeah. So when you don't have a good GM that's motivating the team, and you don't have a good coach, your quarterback kind of takes a dump with everything that's going on. That's how I labeled Joey Harrington. Is Derek Carr under that same synopsis? Well, he kind of had that dump happen to him. He kind of had everything and a half go on. And this coming into New Orleans, this was his swan song. This was him coming back into play. And now with the injury, it takes it away, and you wonder what could have happened to Derek Carr. Could he have been the great quarterback that we expected him to be? Could he have been something that just made something out of his career? And instead, because let's put it this way, would you take Derek Carr? Or let me just check one of the other quarterbacks. QBs in the NFL. Would you take Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins? I'd take Derek Carr. Would you take Jacoby Brissett over Derek Carr? Still take Derek Carr. Tyrod Taylor? Derek Carr. Joe Flacco? Derek Carr. Matt Stafford? Now, I think if you switched Matt Stafford with Derek Carr and you gave him weapons, I'd want to see how that looked. Because there might be that absolute change that Derek Carr carries himself really well and makes do with a lot of things. Here's an easy one. Derek Carr or Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson. I mean, not Derek Carr. Derek Carr. No, not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson sucks. Derek Carr or Ryan Tannehill? Derek Carr. There's a lot of old guys on here. What the hell? It's like QBs in the NFL. Can't you give me someone new? Okay. Nick Foles. Yeah, I'd go Derek Carr. I mean, Tom Brady's on this list. I mean, I'm not picking Tom. Derek Carr or Ben Roethlisberger? Derek Carr. Derek Carr or Phillip Rivers? Phillip Rivers was decent, but I think if you had Derek Carr, you might have won a couple playoff games. Derek Carr, Peyton Manning. Ooh, taking Peyton Manning. Derek Carr or Brett Favre? Derek Carr. Don't nobody hate me. Derek Carr or Geno Smith? Still taking Derek Carr. Derek Carr or Jamarcus Russell? Derek Carr. Let me see if I can hit active quarterbacks in the NFL. Active is the key word. Okay, so some of the top tier guys, I hate to say it, I would take Patrick Mahomes over Derek Carr. And I'm not a Mahomes fan. Josh Allen over Derek Carr. Lamar Jackson over Derek Carr. Joe Burrow. I might draw a line on that because that might be questionable. Derek Carr over Dak Prescott. I'll tell you, Derek Carr might actually win a postseason. Take Jalen Hurts over Derek Carr. Justin Herbert. His first 2 seasons, I'd take Herbert. With the way the Chargers have been a little bit, 50-50 mix. I already said I would take him over Matt Stafford. Take him over Aaron Rodgers all day. Take him over Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, definitely. Kyler Murray is a questionable piece because it's a different type of quarterback. Oh yeah. And the other ones are pretty much rookies and otherwise, so like, they haven't really shown their stuff, but you kind of get that kick. But as far as what goes on now with the Saints, they took I think his name is Tyler Shough. It's just spelled really fancy. Shough. Can't be Shoe. Okay. It's not going to be the Al Bundy of shoes. It's going to be Shoe. Well, he was taken in the second round. They've got Spencer Rattler on the list. They've got Jake Haener. Haener. Okay, he's on there. Now what do you do though? Because you've got to now focus on your offensive line. You've got to basically repurpose what you're doing in this manner. You've got to work and explode with your wide receiver core. There's a lot of work that basically the Saints have to do now. It's not just, hey, we've got quarterbacks, we can reset and go crazy. No, I mean, this is basically what Tom Brady did the minute he decided he wanted out and he went to Tampa Bay. Without Tom Brady, the Patriots had no identity. They had no flair. They had nothing because their quarterback was now gone. Derek Carr brings that same thing because your team is built around your quarterback in order to give those focuses. So now without Derek Carr, you have to kind of find a monument and find something that's going to make something work in order for you to balance. It basically means you got to work your quarterback, whoever it be. So one of those 3 young kids, whether it's the rookie, whether it's Rattler, or whether it's Haener, those guys are going to have to go to work and they're going to have to show you everything they can do. Now, one's a 3-year, one's a 2-year, and one's a brand new rookie. So whether you want the nice and fresh, the kind of kicked, or the busted chops, you're going to have some work cut out for you going forward. To either which way, to New Orleans, good luck. To Derek Carr, hopefully we'll see you on the sidelines of ESPN sometime. I don't know how his personality is. I don't know what he's going to carry. But to lose anything and lose sight from an injury, it does suck. It is not the wonderful thing in the world. It is not anything that really goes over all too well. It is something that is, to where could the man have played till he was 39? Could he play till he was 40? Could he done an Aaron Rodgers, played till 41, 42, like Brett Favre? Could he have done the impossible like Tom Brady? We don't know, because now the man's retired. I mean, look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was great quarterback, really built, really strong, really on the get-go. He was a perfect rendition to take over for Peyton Manning when they found him in Indianapolis. He was a great way to go. And then just out of nowhere, it's like, hey, I'm retiring. But now, if you look at Indianapolis, what have they done lately? I mean, yes, they have their current quarterback, but what did they do before him? And even he has monumental days of, dude, really with this guy? You know, Indy's struggles have basically prolonged their world, and they're the cause of it because of everything that they did to Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was basically injury prone. Not by his own recognizance, but you basically roughed him up and he did not quit. So he kept on going. Concussions, everything like that basically made the world for him. Now you just basically take him out of the equation and it does kind of suck. So to Derek, good luck to you. But I'm now going to go from New Orleans. I'm going to go up to the Central. First off, I'm going to start with this just a little bit spicy. Shedeur Sanders, who the fuck are you, dude? I'm going to break this because I've seen a lot of news with Shedeur Sanders. I've seen a lot of things that have basically come into play that says, hey, this is Shedeur Sanders. How do you feel about him? How do you feel about the guy? When you're hearing a lot of stories and you're seeing everything come out, sad points about the joking and everything aside, with the Atlanta Falcons calling Shedeur Sanders, calling his phone, basically saying, hey, you've been drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. Congratulations. That in itself is a crap fest. But, dude, has anybody ever seen the movie Draft Day? This was Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Sanders, supposed to be the exo facto communicado. This man is, oh my god, like here we go. He's supposed to be the quarterback that steps in and can make things happen with teams. Only thing I've seen out of him is a cocky, arrogant fuck. Pardon my language, please, but it's how I see him. When you're bearing the number of number 12 and you're stating my story going to be similar, is he references Tom Brady. Dude, you weren't picked near last. You were picked in the 5th friggin' round. You weren't also like Tom Brady, where it was you were supposed to be the next big thing to come out of a quarterback room next to Cam Ward, who you knew was being taken number 1. But no, multiple teams shunned you. And why? Oh, dear God, why? Jeez. Has anybody seen what he's doing so far? Picks number 12. Thinks he's going to be the GOAT. Thinks he's going to be the greatest of all time. Thinks he's going to go down the path of Tom frickin' Brady. I know I sounded a little Boston right there. But it's true. When you have a man that wants to be like, basically, here's this man coming out and saying, I'm going to be the next Tom Brady, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you got to read a playbook first, dude. And after you read the playbook, you then have to look at the 2 other guys that you're going to be vying for position, not including, okay, the massage therapist himself if he's still on the team. Oh, wait, did you forget something? You play for the frickin' Browns. Bill Belichick couldn't even win with that team. So I'm going to state this. You're either going to be the next coming of Tom Brady. You're going to be a mid-level superstar. like a Jared Goff in Cleveland, or you're going to be Johnny Manziel. You're going to cry, you're going to bitch, you're going to moan, you're going to play for the CFL. My money's on the third. Listen, we understand you've got a famous daddy. We understand your shit don't stink, buddy. I hate to break it to you. When you pinch one off, it stinks. No matter what you do. So just admit it. It stinks. When you're hyping it up, it stinks. When you're creating yourself, it stinks. When you're admitting to, hell, I'm going to rope this right in. You play for the Browns, it stinks. Okay? Hey, the critic called. Okay? John Lovett's doing his stick. It stinks. He's referencing you. Shadir Sanders has not even taken a snap yet. He's coming out of college. He's basically 5th round draft pick. Multiple teams passed on him. Other quarterbacks he should have blown out of the water and been drafted maybe in the 2nd round, maybe in the 3rd round. Why did teams snub him that badly to where he was drafted in the 5th, especially by the Browns? Because the funny aspect was, the 2nd round pick in the draft is not what I wanted to type. That is not again. Oh my God. I'm trying to find if I could see it, because there was a thing to where Travis Hunter was actually talking about Shadir Sanders. And it wasn't because he played for Colorado. It was because Shadir Sanders, to him, should have been drafted end of round 1, beginning of round 2. Because if they went down quarterback lane, should he have been branded as himself in round 2 or round 3? And did he expect to be that high? Yes. And I was trying to get the exact quote from Travis Hunter in order to carry that out, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, when a guy you play for goes in and goes, this is magical somewhere. This should have been something. Okay. Why was he not drafted? What happened? You guys missed out on a great quarterback. You guys missed out on like everything you're looking at. You're not going to know what you don't have because you don't have it. Well, let's put it this way. When you're a high up guy, you get invited to these guys that are going to fall to the pick. Hey, I need a quarterback. I'm going to talk to Cam Ward. I'm going to talk to insert other quarterback in the draft. Shadir Sanders. When you have someone like the Giants who desperately needs a quarterback, okay? Daniel Jones didn't work. Now they've got Russell Wilson. They think something is going to portray better luck in New York than anywhere else. I have a news flash for New York really quick. You decided to take Russell Wilson. Did Russell Wilson work out after Seattle imploded? No. Did it work out when he went to Denver? Lord, no. Did it work out in Pittsburgh? No. I don't care what anybody says. It didn't work out in Pittsburgh. Justin Fields had more command with a lot of things that he did in Pittsburgh. And a lot of things weren't Justin Fields' fault But he was then told to take a back seat to Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson sometimes just got things scraped out of his own feet because he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the scenario. I hate to say it. When he was with Seattle, it's the same thing that I say about Patrick Mahomes. There's just something about him where you have the luck, you have the magic, and for whatever reason, one day, that magic goes bye-bye. Once the magic is gone, you've got nothing. No sprinkly fairy dust, no nothing coming down to you. Nothing is going to help you from where you are. That's where Russell Wilson is. That's where I see Patrick Mahomes in another year or two. And the Super Bowl might have condoned it. Because you're going to lose Kelsey. You're going to lose a couple of the guys. Andy Reid's going to retire. And a lot of things are going to change in Kansas City. Can you see the writing on the wall? I can. And I have. The only reason why Patrick Mahomes has had the career he's had is because he's gotten lucky. It's called a horseshoe up your ass. When he throws, it's a horseshoe. When he walks, it's a horseshoe. When something goes his way, it's a horseshoe. Blatant calls. You know to the fact that it wasn't pass interference, but you called it anyway because Patrick Mahomes is right there. And when it's called on a Monday night game, oh my God, there's a certain commentator, okay, that basically says, now here's a guy that gives me an erection. I wonder who that could be, Chris Collinsworth. And I swear, the more times I hear, now here's a guy, get a new stick. It's not funny. We don't care, Chris. You're a great guy, great commentator, great everything. But it's the same thing when like certain people get really excited about a game. It's the reason why I went off on Reggie Miller. Dude, you want to talk about how Brunson is the man, and then the next play he throws the ball away. Hold on. And I know I dipped into another thing. But the connection is way too similar. Because everybody said, oh, you know, you're just saying that. It's like, no. Okay, listen, if Patrick Mahomes came in and day out, there wasn't so many controversial pieces tracking him down. I wasn't the biggest fan of Tom Brady when he was in New England either. Okay, but it wasn't just, oh, pass interference here. Oh, get this. Oh, get this. Oh, do this. No, there were aspects you watched. The man screwed up. The man did greatness. The man did everything else. There wasn't, I mean, hell, deflated balls. You really want to tell me Tom Brady had it easy? The man got sacked for 4 games. Why? Because of deflated balls. Deflategate. Hello? If the NFL loves its darling of Tom Brady so badly, why did they have him sit 4 games when it would have cost the Patriots and the NFL money? Wait a minute. It was a big story. His name was everywhere. Oh my God. It was Tom effing Brady. You're right. It was. Again, the man who you now know as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, can't even fathom to hold a candle to my great hero, which is his great hero, Joe Montana. You can't fathom to compare him to Dan Marino because he blows Marino out of the water. You can't compare him to John Elway anymore because he makes John Elway look like a simp. And as far as the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning fiasco, it's the same thing as if you're looking at Michael Jordan and LeBron James. James can have all the records he wants. At the end of the day, Who's holding the rings? Who's holding the studliness? Who's basically showing that they can still hold themselves accountable, play at a high level near 45 years of age? That was Tom Brady. So before you go counting the monumental mushmouth of everything, take heed, Shedeur Sanders, because you've got amazing shoes to fill. And the minute you fuck up, it's not Cleveland fans that are going to be on you. They're used to this shit. But it's going to be the NFL. You want to be like Tom Brady? Like everybody wanted to be like Mike. Everybody wants to be Tom. You're never going to be Tom. And that's what Tom Brady would sit there and tell you. Don't try to be me. It's not worth it. Michael Jordan would probably tell you the same thing. Because I believe he said it to Kobe. Don't try to be me. Be the best you can be. Hell, I'm not trying to be anybody behind this booth. I'm trying to be me. I screw up. I do like a lot of stuff. I hit the wrong key. I give the wrong information, and then I look like a plethora of a moron. But I'm okay. Why? Because I'm sitting here. I'm talking. But if I know I'm going to screw up, hey, guess what? I screwed up. Oh. I move along. I get over it. And then I play the game again. What's the difference between it? Hello? I'm playing the game again. This is the aspect that you have to look at. It's playing the game. Shedeur, go play your game. If you want to be number 12, be number 12. Just remember, you play for the Browns. You still have your dad to deal with because he's going to hold you highly accountable. And so is the remainder of the NFL. Because if you think you're getting away with anything, no. That is not going to be something you want to deal with. So, all right. Going to take a quick one really quick. So what are we going to do? We're going to give you the sports scores. Yeah. We're doing some scores here. Here's the really lovely thing. In the NBA, OKC routed Denver 92-87 in the final. Series is now tied 2-2. And that's looking like an absolute slugfest right there. Also, Cleveland losing to Indiana. It was at one point, it was such a beating. I can't say on the air because it's really, really bad. But I will say to the fact that the Pacers went into the half leading by 41. In that game, also, it was stated to the fact that Donovan Mitchell had an injury where it was questionable for him to return, and I don't believe he did. In the NHL, Winnipeg went down to Dallas. Dallas takes a 2-1 lead series in there. And, of course, Florida making its mark on Toronto 2-0 to actually tie the series 2 games apiece. In the MLB, we don't really care much because there's a lot going on with it. Boston actually did rout Kansas City 3-1. I think over all the matches between what has gone on between them, it has been a burn fest, but I think Boston has taken a couple of them. Just looking really quick. Boston. Schedule. Should have actually had this a little bit. Yep, they lost their first one to Kansas City and then took the other 2 games 10-1 and 3-1. Garrett Crochet taking the win yesterday, and G.O.A.T taking the win for this game. Yes. And of course, there are no football scores because football isn't even played yet. So, we'll give an update on those afterwards as well. It was a nice good reach. Like I said, I'm trying new things. There's the most you can say. Like, all right, so there's the most you can say. I'm just going to sit here and talk. I'm going to do my thing, but I'm trying to be a little bit more presentable. I mean, hell, it's only me. I'm not the world's greatest magician. I'm also not Shadir Sanders thinking I'm a goat somewhere. What a boob. Well, to get to a couple things in the MLB, yeah, this is the fun part. The Rockies have decided to part ways with their manager, Bud Black. Is it Black? Yeah, I think so. Why am I not seeing everything? I'm only seeing... There's certain times when I'm actually looking at a page and I want to say something, it's not coming in as much as I want to. All right, there we go. Can we find MLB, please, where we go everywhere? Da, 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 da. Yep. So, Bud Black is his name. His last game as the manager before being fired. The Rockies took down the Padres. Oh no, they lost by 21 runs to the Padres at Coors Field. They were off to a Major League worst 7-33 start, but they defeated the Padres 9-3 on Sunday to salvage the game in the home series. And after that, they looked at Bud Black and said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to move on. So they've announced Warren Schaefer will serve as the interim manager for the rest of the season, and Clint Huddle will be the bench coach. Because the Rockies also canned bench coach Mike Redmond. They'll open a road trip Monday night against the Texas Rangers to try to see what they can do. Sunday's victory, they have the worst 40-game start since the 88 Baltimore Orioles, who were 6-34. And here you thought the Chicago White Sox were bad last year? Yeah. This is the part that I actually find that ESPN News Services actually put in here. Black was in his 9th year as a Rockies manager, had a career record with Colorado. Here's the key. A career record. And he is the winningest manager in franchise history. Now, I know what you're probably saying. This is probably going to be like an above 500 rule. What if I said he was 544 out of 690 to 690? 544 wins, 690 losses. If he's had 9 years with the Rockies and it's been completely losing. Manager? Maybe. GM? Could be. Owner? Possible. Is it anything wonderful about the Colorado Rockies? No. What's the benefit of it? It's garbage. First off, I know the Colorado Rockies are not basically something you sit there and go, that's a team I want to play. I mean, hell, you're going to turn on MLB The Show. Nobody's going to turn on the Rockies unless you want to look at the worst team in the league and send off their stuff and get absolute swill in order to make them a subpar 500 team. Then you're doing a rebuild for year 2 and year 3 where you simulate half the thing. Or if you're really going to sit there in mom's basement for about 15 months and complete a whole season, congratulations. Oh. But the tempting of it is General Manager Bill Smith said we have to get better and move forward. We owe it to our fans to play better baseball. Bill Schmidt What the friggin' high hell did you put on the field that can give Bud Black anything of precedence? Let's see. I want to go to their game. Can I find it? San Diego, Colorado. I want to look at the box score. Okay. Well, first off, they got Nick Pivetta on the mound. Okay. They got Brenton Doyle, who's 26. He's their center field. They've got Jordan Beck, who's 24. That's their left fielder. They've got Ryan McMahon, who's 30. These guys aren't hitting even anything like that. Hunter Goodman, who's a 25-year-old. He's actually not batting too bad. Here's what I find funny. He's got almost the same stats as Rafael Devers. Just saying. Michael Toglia, who's 26. Like right now, I'm thinking this is a farm team. Mickey Moniak, 26. Again, farm team. The funny thing is, I say something about a farm team. Kyle Farmer, 34 years old. I was wondering where the veteran was in this whole thing. Like, Kyle Farmer is what you have for veteran leadership at 34? Like, you already know to the fact you have next to nothing for a payroll, and you get Kyle Farmer. Okay, Jacob Stallings, he's a 35-year-old catcher. He's batting 164. I doubt to the fact you're using him for his pitcher prowess. Hello? And finally at shortstop, Alan Trejo, who's 28, is batting 200. You have nobody that goes anywhere within the Mason-Dixon that this is where you're going to be. So no wonder why you're losing games. No wonder why you're not doing anything that's screaming out, help me, save me, because you suck. It might not even be, like, listen, when you give a general, like, when you give a manager scraps, that's basically what he's going to have. When you give him pieces to work with that have like a little meat on the bone, you can make a soup. It's wonderful. Okay? When you have more pieces of meat on the bone, i.e. more players or someone that is a little bit more experienced for what you're looking at to put a positive product on the field, you're going to get more food into the bellies of the people waiting to eat, i.e. your fans. Think about that. I'm not a general manager. I'm not trying to be a couch GM. But this is GM 101. Okay? This is what they teach you when you sit down and be like, I'm little Billy, and I want to be a GM when I grow up. What's the first thing I got to do? Learn my team. What's the second thing? I got to learn to balance. No wonder why your coach got fired. You're a bum. And it's either the coach is the bum, the general manager is the bum. But what's the owner going to do, like, in a little bit? Is he going to fire the GM? Do they have a baseball president that can actually fire him, like, within the next week? Can you get somebody that wants to bring in players? Is Colorado even a destination? It's a damn good thought. Is Colorado the destination that somebody would want to go play? Is it somewhere that you'd want to deal with? I wouldn't. if I'm looking especially at something like this, where like, this is their losing aspect. This is basically what they do. And then they lowball me to high heck. Okay, I have to ask Mookie Betts for assistance on like what to do about my contract. Then yeah, I basically have to look at it and be like, yeah, I don't want to go there. Because am I going to get paid? No. Do they look like they're going to combat or compete in any way, shape, or form over the next 2 years? No. So why do I put myself out there to be that guy, waste 2 years of my MLB service in order to try to grow a team that doesn't seem like it wants to grow? That's just marginal for me. I mean, is Colorado trying to get out of Colorado? Is Colorado going the way of Oakland to go to Vegas? But they're going somewhere else? Damn good question. Gotta really wonder. Can it be? 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 Canopies. So the Thunder and the Nuggets played. It's wonderful. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 25 points for the Thunder. Jalen Williams had 10. Chet Holmgren stepped up with 8. Isaiah Hartenson had 8. Lou Gintz, Dort. He had 6. Look off the bench. Alex Caruso had 10 points. Aaron Wiggins, 11 points. Cason Wallace, 11 points. Isaiah Joe. That's an awesome name. Isaiah Joe. He had 1 point. With Jalen Williams having 2. But if you have to look at everything together, Holmgren himself had 13 rebounds. Hardison had 14. Gilgeous-Alexander had 6 rebounds and also 6 assists with 2 steals. Jalen Williams had 3 steals. So they made it a fight. And the Nuggets, well, Jokic had 27. Aaron Gordon popped 15. Michael Porter Jr. only had 3. Jamal Murray and Christian Braun had 17. And then the bench of Peyton Watson, Russell Westbrook, and Julian Starhauser. Westbrook had 6 points. Watson had 2. Strother didn't even score a point. Plus minus a 0. Woo! So 92-87, Oklahoma basically on the back of Gilgeous-Alexander rolled in. He shot 9 for 12 on the field. Basically, they kind of pumped the brakes and popped up a lot. So that's a series that if the Nuggets can actually go toe-to-toe with Oklahoma, that's a good series. I said when we were talking about the NBA playoffs are a different story. So Oklahoma City owning how much you actually run in the regular season, you're getting up there with your time. But now you got the Denver Nuggets who are basically showing you where they're going to be and how they're going to portray themselves. Yeah, they pretty much showed you. But then we also have the Cavs and the Pacers. I don't even want to look at the Cavs right now, but I'm going to have to. Highest scorer was Darius Garland at 21. Donovan Mitchell probably before he had 20 minutes. So it looks like he played substantial time. Doesn't look like he did much for, like, again, with 12 points. Max Strus had 11. Evan Mobley had 10. Dean Wade, not to be confused with Dwayne Wade. This is Dean now. He had 3. Chukuma Okale had 3. Jalen Tyson with 11 points. Isaac Oroko had 13. Ty Jerome with 7 points, and everybody had under 5. DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill Devontae Green, Craig Porter Jr. And when you look at the Pacers, damn. All I'm saying. The one thing I will say about Cleveland, they did shoot 42.9, which isn't bad. They were 40% from three, 87 from the line. So it just doesn't sound like they played defense and executed. Which, again, top tier in the league, and they're getting blown out by, the Pacers, who I believe were number 4 in the conference. Oh, they were second in the Central. But they've basically been destroying, and I mean destroying, Cleveland. I mean, it's bad enough to the fact that they destroyed the Bucks 4-1, but now you're already on a 3-1 lead against Cleveland. It's either they're out for blood and they want to play the Celtics, or they're just looking to blow it past and get to the finals. I mean, Pacers are scary, man. Pascal Siakam had 21 points. Aaron Nesmith had 12. Miles Turner popped 20. Tyrese Halliburton, 11 points. That's unlikely for him. He's usually not bad for a scorer. Obi Toppin, 20 points. TJ McConnell, 13 points. And everybody actually Ben Shepherd down at the bottom had 14. So their bench came to life. They basically ran amok with everything. They shot 52% from the field, 42.9 behind the arc, 80% behind the line. I mean, the 52% is going to be like a high rating, and especially where it's 10% higher. Yeah, when you're dropping more shots than what your opponent is dropping in, yeah, of course you're going to beat them. But when you look at everything, as it goes, a 41-point halftime lead before blowing out the Cavs 129-109. So you blew them out by 20 points. But you had a 41-point halftime lead. You know what that basically says? We don't care you're number one. We're just going to make you look foolish. Here it is. So that is ridiculous. The Pacers built a 44-point lead before settling for an 80-39 halftime margin that matched the league's previous best since detailed play-by-play was kept, set by the Cavs in Game 2 of the 2017 Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. Wow. And Indiana did much of its damage without Benedict Mathurin, one of the best scorers, who was ejected for a flagrant 2 in just 7.5 minutes into the game. Donovan Mitchell also missed the second half because of an injured left ankle. Yeah, that doesn't help matters either. So, but, dude, you're the number one team in the league. You should actually be making your statement, making everything as it goes, and you're getting blown out by the Pacers. So if you're getting blown out by the Pacers are the number 4 team. So they're not even to the Knicks. And they're not even to the Celtics, where the Celtics are right behind you, but the Pacers are just coming in and making you look stupid. If the Pacers do this to the Knicks or the Celtics, whoever wins the series, Boston. I can't say why the Pacers wouldn't play. They're playing great ball. They destroyed the Bucks 4-1. They've basically got a 3-1 lead on Indy. Here's the problem. The Cavaliers had no problem taking on the Heat. The Heat were the number 8 seed. Okay? But now, with Cleveland doing 4-0, and then they had to wait, and now everything else is popping up, what does that do in the long term when you're looking at everything going on? You're going to be resting a lot. Because, again, if the Celtics play tonight and they blow them out, there you go. Series is tied 2. Now you got to get 2 more games out of the Celtics and the Knicks to where one of them reaches 2 games and wins. You're going to be sitting at home. You're going to be doing practices. You're going to be running amok. That's going to hurt you. I mean, right now, Knicks and Celtics is only a 2-game-to-1 lead. Can the Celtics go into the Garden, make a difference? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But even the Thunder and the Nuggets, the series is tied 2-2. Minnesota's leading the Warriors. They play tonight. A lot of active stuff going on right there. And where I wanted to go. All right. Just in case if anybody comes in and they want to know what is going on, because it's goodness. It's all that goodness. Can we get back to like the friggin' thing, please? Thank you. All right. Wrapping up some scores for you. Boston beating Kansas City 3-1. We had Lucas Giolito. Nice beard, by the way, buddy. He's won the game. 6.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs. He's fanned 5. Mr. Lugo takes the loss for the Kansas City, with Aroldis Chapman coming in and notching his 6th save of the year. Devers also homering to center, driving in 2 extra. After Abreu homered in the 4th, Devers has been on a tear. They make it 3-1 Boston, and that is your final. Capping off everything else in sports, Oklahoma City, as we talked about, beating Denver 92-87. Series is now tied up 2 games apiece. Cleveland basically getting dismantled, disheveled, everything in between. Throw in the word throw in another word right there. It's basically how they went. They had a 41-point destructive teardown that was given by the Pacers by the time halftime went into play. In the NHL, Dallas beat Winnipeg 5-2. Dallas is now leading the series 2-1. And of course, Florida popping off a shutout in Toronto. Series is tied 2 games apiece. They will go into game 5 with everything evened up. As I'm looking forward to everything and a half, because that is the Bruins draft pick, and it niches more as Florida goes on. All right. So we covered basically everything out of sports. So guess what we also got to do? Well, we got to go over that Celtics game. Celtics. Do you know what that means? It means the Celtics. Celtics basically went right in and right away with the Knicks. Celtics basically went in and routed the Knicks. 115-93. This was on Saturday. I want a graphic that shows, oh, these were made in a factory. A bomb factory. Because the Celtics basically dished out everything in its path on Saturday, because that 3-point touch was touched by an angel. And once they started, you can actually state to the fact you did not, in any which way, shape, or form, be coming back from this. Close games as it was, 108-105, 91-90. Those are the past two games where the Knicks won by a possession. There was no possession in this one. The Knicks just didn't have anything. Defense, giving them struggles and woes. Shots, giving them everything and a half. Everything dropping in the Celtics' way. 115-93. You basically beat them by 20. Congratulations. It was destructo. Jason Tatum, 22 points and 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Followed by Peyton Pritchard, who came off the bench, scoring 23 points. Eastern Conference semifinals, taking the route. It was great. They were 20 for 40 from three-point range. That's a huge difference. Okay, Jaylen Brown's comment, you got to beat us 4 times. That's what it comes down to. Not twice, not once, not 3. You've got to win 4. So there's a lot of basketball to be played. The man's got a point. You've got to basically get to that 4th game and basically do everything. Brown scored 19. Derek White had 17 for the Celtics. On the other side of the ball, Jalen Brunson scored 27. Karl Anthony Towns had 21 points, 15 rebounds. They blew a 2-0 lead in the round last year, still seeking their first conference finals appearance since 2000. Well, I'll have to see how it is. The funny thing is, when you watch this game versus the other game, because it's different to where, like, you know, ABC had this game. TNT had the other games, and Reggie Miller calling games. I said this a little bit about this, and this is one of the factors that, like, you know, kicks into this. What is with the Tatum hate? Can someone clear this up for me, please? The Tatum hate is real. Okay, it's not even so much as hate. It's almost like, what did the guy do to you, man? The guy goes out, he plays ball. He's a dad. He takes care of his teammates. He, you know, is a guy for the community. He's all about balling. He's great people with everybody around him. But at times, one of the most clutch shooters in the NBA, and you've got to side him to saying Jalen Brunson is one of the top tier guys for clutch. This is, of course, quote, quote, Reggie Miller. Does Reggie not look at stats? But again, this is where the Tatum hate comes in. People have already garnished on Tatum for how the Celtics portrayed in game 1 and game 2. And I think when you look at this, yeah, the last possession of the game was not anything you could control. But that dunk by Tatum, basically at the end of game 2, that gave them a couple seconds left where they went down and scored, that basically is the mindset. That was, to me, that was the flick right on the wick in order to get that bomb going. So, in reference terms, the Knicks, I think, just set off the Celtics. And in a very, very heavy way. Now, the first 2 games, with them being by 3 and by 1, I said it, I'll say it again. It's very clearly, it's very easy, it's brushed up, it's to the point. The Knicks are grinders. They are going to do things in the paint. They're going to do things on defense. They're going to basically be that grinding team that wants a hell of a win. This team has more juice and everything. The minute Karl Anthony Towns got sent over to New York. I remember I said it clear as day. It was a what? It was a wake-up call for New York. They took some of their team, they dumped them, okay? And they're having a field day in Minnesota about it. Are they not? Because Minnesota is looking damn good in the playoffs. But now you have the Knicks with Karl-Anthony Towns and a couple of the pieces with Jalen Brunson making that magic happen. It's team chemistry. And we'll talk about team chemistry in a little bit because I'm a firm believer in team chemistry. Even though when I brought up team chemistry to somebody way before, a couple years ago, about the Celtics, one of the things I was met with was, no, it doesn't come down to chemistry. Everything comes down to chemistry. If you have three guys that are the greatest players in the world, and they know they're the greatest players in the world, but they have no chemistry together, who shoots the ball? Who knows to pass? Who knows to get the ball down the court? Who's the leader? This is chemistry. This is the breakdown. This is the concept. The Celtics throughout the year have shown where their chemistry is. They start in the front court, they support to the back court, and then within everything else, they show love to the bench. This is where they have made every single rule. The Knicks are one of those teams that they're gelling on all cylinders because of that. What does that do? It makes them an affordable opponent to where when people are saying the Knicks, oh yeah, well, they're going to beat the Celtics. Great, cool. But when you're sitting there saying, oh, they're going to wipe them 4-0. Did I come out and say that the Celtics were going to stomp all over the Knicks? No, I gave them their just desserts. It's if there's slip-ups, which the Knicks could do, and the Knicks have done, games in 5. I'll give them a win. If they grind it and they want to keep going with it, it's going to be in 6. But if they push it to the max and they do everything that they're doing, it's going to be a complete series and it's going to go 7 games. I gave the Knicks their just aspects. Why? Because every other person was writing them off in 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. But they never went to the aspect of what is making these teams have their moments. And to me, yeah, there's a great assembly when you look at the Knicks. Because the minute they got Karl-Anthony Towns, him and Brunson started meshing. Okay? OG, look at them as they work. I'm not going to say the Knicks are not a bad team. Hart is an amazing player. You cannot do what the Celtics did and just shoot threes. You have to get in the paint, you have to divide the Knicks, and you have to make them work. If they work, you weaken them. If you play their game and you stick with what your game plan is by shooting threes, which is Missoula ball, tonight was not all threes, but they did pound the shit out of the 3 ball. Okay, with 40 of them, but they made their statements in other ways. Defense, rebounds, open shots, getting passes to where the pass was tipped to their player waiting in the wings. Okay? Step backs. Letting the guy go like, hey, I'm going to block this shot. No, you're not. I'm stepping over here and dribbled. That was Celtics basketball. That's how you beat the Knicks. But don't think to the fact you can do that every night. There's sometimes you're going to have to get that ball underneath the net. And instead of doing what Drew Holiday did, which was bump it to Derek White for the easy 3, no, you have to grab that ball and put it up. Because people are going to look at that. They're going to expect that. This makes everything as it goes when you go back into the Madison Square Garden on Monday. You need to play Celtics basketball. which is probably 60% Missoula ball, just making sure you throw up the threes right, to 40% pound the paint. Yeah, I know. I'm acting like a coach. I'm looking over somebody's shoulder. I'm wondering half the aspect, but somebody tell me if I'm wrong. The threes are a great open tool, but when you use them too much, you hurt yourself. Because if you miss and miss and miss, what are the Knicks doing? The Knicks are not going down the field and taking 53s. But they are going down there and pummeling you in the paint. They are giving mid-range shots. And they're basically putting you out to pasture because they're showing it. Their ball movement is almost as good as yours. But that's, again, the chemistry in the movement of the ball. You can do it. You can glide it. It's all there in black and white. Show who you are. Show what you can do. Show you can be the team that can beat the number 3 seed because you are the number 2. And who does number 2 work for? If the Celtics do correct ball, they need 3 more, which means this is game 4. Can they pound the presentation and go 4 straight games and leaving the Knicks baffled? If they go for the grind as they expect, I can see it. But I think this is going to 7, and it's going to be very scary. But do I think the Celtics will still pull it out? Yeah. It's just something about the... If I'm the Knicks, or if I'm even the Celtics, the one thing I'm also doing is I'm watching that Pacers series. For starters, the Pacers are going to wear themselves down. First off, they're going to win by 5 games. And then they're going to have to go in and play either the number 2 or the number 3 team who is stronger on defense, better with their shot aspirations, and they have a better fundamentals between Tom Thibodeau and also Joe Mazzulla. I will give both of those coaches credit. They can grind you. They can work you. They are not the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I said during the regular season. You take presentables because they do not have a factoring team that is going to do something in the playoffs. You played the Heat. The Heat was easy. 4 games, you're done. You move on. But now you're playing Indiana. Dynamite team. Hardcore team. They're showing where their weaknesses are. You've got now your star in Donovan Mitchell, who is down, who is not going to be anything that like what to expect. Where does it bring you from here? It's going to bring you in like another location. It's going to show you a lot of things that are going to be, oh, damn, did that happen? So, as much as I'd love to say it, this is going to be a series. And I'm thankful because I wanted something that a lot of people have actually been saying that the NBA has basically been trash. Can you look at this? Can you look at the ratings and actually see the ratings start to go up? Yes. Why? Well, you still have Steph Curry in the playoffs. He's respected. He's admired. He's a hardcore guy. He gets in there when he needs to. And also you have Draymond Green, who you don't know if he's going to foul out, if he's going to cry, if he's going to agitate, if he's just going to like take somebody and just do something stupid. But then you got the Cinderella story of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are raking, destroying the Lakers, sending not only Luka Doncic home, but you're also sending LeBron James home. It's a big step. And Minnesota, at the beginning of the year, when they sent Karl-Anthony Towns out the door, were they expecting anything? Well, they had a good team. They had what the Knicks were building, but now they did it for their own terms. Now they're showing to the fact that, like, this can be something stronger. And it kind of also sticks it in the Knicks' face. You basically gave up all those guys just to get Karl-Anthony Towns. And these guys are making everything go exceptional. But Cat's also been on like another level. So taking the Knicks to that other level with Jalen Brunson, who's exploded with his career with this year in New York, you've basically got a finals run that can make this interesting. This is what I watch the NBA for. Damn good games. I don't want to see floppies. LeBron went home. Okay? I want to see a styled game. I want to see a gritty game. I want to see a grinding game. I want to see guys that basically know how to get in the paint, know how to score, and know how to win, and take that to the next level. That's the Celtics. That's the Knicks. That's the Timberwolves. Right now, it's even the Pacers. And I'm seeing that in OKC, and I'm also seeing it in Denver. These teams have got everything you want to see. Now, is it the NHL? No. Because the NHL has basically come hand over fist with who it is. Having Winnipeg in their conference championship, you know, you've basically got the Maple Leafs, who made it past round one in order to play the Panthers. When you look at the brackets, the Capitals and the Hurricanes, that's a battle. The Golden Knights and the Oilers, where the Oilers are beating Vegas 2-1. I mean, yeah, the Jets are losing to the Stars 2-1 as well, but the fact that the Jets are there is overly impressive. The Maple Leafs, the last time they even did anything remotely to like what they're doing this year, it's trying to get in the door. You know, this is the knock on. And the Hurricanes, well, Hurricanes are showing that they're still a contention team, and it's questionable if they're even going to get knocked out. But let me put it in this manner. Taking away the Panthers, taking away the Golden Knights. So, out of 8 teams, okay, 2 of those 8 have a possibility of being something new and something present in the NHL championship. Why do I bring this up, and where I'm going back to basketball in a second? That is what is getting more people to watch games. Florida, the Gold, and Vegas, the Golden Knights. They've been to the dance. The Capitals, not in a couple years. But it's also Alexander Ovechkin's hoorah. You know, after taking the goal lead from Wayne Gretzky. The Maple Leafs. I don't even think they've been this far in years. Centuries. Close. The Oilers. I don't even think they sniffed this far in the playoffs in a while. And the Jets and the Stars, that's all for itself. But if I'm going even back to the NBA bracket, because this is the biggest thing. The Thunder haven't played anything in the postseason in a while. The Timberwolves have basically been in the first round, grinding into the second, but they've never been dominant. Cavaliers and Pacers, they've met their moments. The Knicks have not been this decidingly dominant in a very long time. And it just so happens they drew the Celtics, who have been all over. The Pacers, all over. Okay, the Nuggets, all over. The Warriors, all over. These are teams, though, that when you have to look at them, people basically have voted the Celtics out because they don't think they're going to return. They don't think they're going to get to the finals. And again, this is also where the Jason Tatum Kate comes in. Okay, the Pacers are on pace. No pun intended, please. There's a lot of fucking pun. Who's kidding? They're the grind team you want to watch. Same thing with the Knicks. Both of them, they're poised, they're young, they want to win, they want to show who they can be, and they want to make statements. If the Celtics weren't in it, I'd be watching the Pacers. I'd be watching the Knicks. And I'm a kid from Boston saying I'm watching a New York team. Listen, the last part of that statement is not Yankees. Take that into stride. But you can't take away what is an actual piece. And the Knicks have that. The Knicks have those moments in every which way, shape, or form. The Timberwolves have that right now. Those are the guys for the grind. Those are the guys I root for. I root for the Celtics because why? They're right below, right over there. And for you that aren't listening on YouTube, yeah, I've basically got the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Bruins, the Celtics. I've got a logo in like all four corners. What's the benefit of it? The Celtics are right there. Not lying. It's as it is. It's as it goes. Who can say anything else? You can't. So, with this, series kicks back Monday night, New York. Where is it? 7:30 p.m. time. Looks like it'll be on ESPN. So, it will not, thankfully, be on TNT until Wednesday. You know what's funny? Is I'm looking at Boston at New York. Tickets as low as $496. Section 417, which is, it looks like there's courtside, then there's the floor seats, and then there's the loge, and then there's like another loge, and then a balcony, and it looks like that's up to, it might be the upper mezzanine. So we got the Madison Club seats, general admission, which isn't even, oh wait, no, I think those are on the corner. 18 is high balcony. Then there's the baseline ones, Chase. Oh, there's even bridge seats, which are like the up and holy crap. Then there's the west balcony, which is the, dude, if your nose bleeds, you wonder why. Holy crap-tastic. Are you up there? There's the 100 level, which is basically close to the floor, just close to what it probably would be for like load seats. And there's the 100 level sideline, which is on the left and the right. There's the floor. The 400 level is that piece between the west balcony, which is holy crap, and then what would be like the, you know, the rich people seats. So it's kind of like right smack in there. But holy crap, $496 for those upper seats. Then they got 507, 523. Let's see if we do. You know something? I want like seats of 212. Oh my god, 749 each. Oh my god. What happens if I want to sit on the floor? There's like no seats. Oh, $2,000. Hey, I want to go to a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden and watch them play the Celtics. Great. Where do you want to sit? I want to sit on the floor. $2,000, sir. What? I'm looking at floor 8. Well, let's take that off. No, I want to see row 5. Row 5. $10,000. $10,000. Hold on. If this is Vivid Seats, I'll share this. Holy crap. Where I'm looking is section 5. And if you get a minute, I'll try to make like a thing about this. But if you look at this, section 5 down here from $10,513 each. So basically 2 tickets are 90% of what my car is worth. That's disgusting. Purebred disgusting. Just to go to a game. And what's worse is stay in the know. Get the hell out of here. People are paying those because you see the seats. They're completely packed. For 10,018. There's 4 tickets available. There's 2 tickets available. That's right behind the bench. What happened if I wanted to be right on the floor there? Oh, that's $2,000. Now, see, that's not bad. Row 9. Row 9. It's right up there. Okay? Or even row 5. Row 5 is closer. Row 2. Yeah. See, floor 2, you can see where you're sitting looking at that court. Holy crap. 16,000 includes 4,000 in fees. Why do you get fees that high in this thing? Who in the blue hell is blowing who? This is just to go to a game. Huh. I got nothing. I don't know what the hell to say. And I don't know what to say because the monkey won't do. Why am I not adjusting to where I need to be? Whoa. Hello. Oh, that just. Ooh. I'll give you the scores and then I'll wrap up with the last segment that we're gonna do with the Red Sox. Holy crap. Oh. Wow. All right. The final scores as bringing 2 and highlights of it. Derek Carr announces his retirement from the NFL. The 34-year-old was nicked with a shoulder where it is a rotator cuff tear. looks like it didn't heal right, so he will officially retire. That will leave the 3 quarterbacks into getting up to speed and who will take over. Rockies also part ways with their manager Bud Black after a 7-33 record. I believe it was 7 or 9 year man of the team was officially dismissed. Wonder what's going to happen to the GM. OKC downs Denver 92-87. Series is now 2 games apiece. Indiana takes a 3-1 lead after decimating Cleveland 129-109. The team was officially, and I'm talking about Indiana, the team was officially up 41 points at the half. Cleveland's coach called it a complete decimation. In the NHL, Dallas beating Winnipeg 5-2, which Dallas takes a 2-1 series lead. And Florida knocking a shutout to Toronto 2-0, makes a 2-series tie. And then we have Luis Giolito taking the win with the Red Sox as they beat the Kansas City Royals 3-1. Rafael Devers and also Weiler Abreu homering. Devers scoring the go-ahead with a 2-run shot in the 6th. Aroldis Chapman also making his 6th save. They will be, hopefully, I believe, on the mound again tomorrow. Yep, where they play the Tigers. I had this better lined out. Tanner Hulk will take the mound against Jackson Jobe. And start time with that will be 6:40. Also, Celtics will take on the Knicks for Game 4. Start time will be 7:30. It'll be at Madison Square Garden, where ticket prices are holy cow. All right, let's get to the last segment, and then let's pack up and get out of here. Man. Woo! Those ticket prices. Holy crap. Must be nice to actually spend that. Fees. Draft fees. I'm going to have to do a segment on that. What are the fees associated when you order something from Vivid Seats or something like that? Oh my God. They really know how to take their money. Ugh. All right. Well, the Red Sox, besides being on a little bit of a 2-game win streak, they are still battling issues in the clubhouse and everything in between. Over the weekend, while doing the games in Kansas City, John Henry, owner of the Sox, along with general manager Craig Breslow, made a lovely trip to talk to their former third baseman, now DH, Rafael Devers, over the comments and everything that are basically making Devers a lovely point of interest. Why is that? Well, as stated, general manager Craig Breslow approached Rafael Devers in order to play first base. The DH basically made his comment saying no, 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 which was a little bit more than no when he was told from going from third base to DH. Now, the question on the mind is, what is going on here? Someone brought up a wonderful point that I really have to go into a little bit further. Is there really a culture issue in Boston? Is the culture so swarmed that something is going awry where there's problems in the clubhouse? And I bring this up because one of the other things that someone was bringing up to mind was Ceddanne Rafaela. I guess he was going after first pitches. He was pulled to the side. He was talked to. He went over a couple extra things. And one of the things that was brought to the attention was like, hey, you need to stop swinging at the first pitch. Well, he did really good at spring training with actually poising and getting a good pitch count, going up to the count, like basically drawing where he needs to go. And now all of a sudden it's kind of like, well, we're kind of going in a little bit of different direction because first pitch, swing. First pitch, swing. So it's, I guess, not just Rafael Devers that is not following the suit of Alex Cora. It is now Zidane Rafaela, who's not either listening to his hitting coach, he's not listening to Alex Cora, or he's not doing something proper. But basically, the breakdown is these are two players that not seemingly caring. One is even a rookie. He's not even making, he's probably making league minimum, maybe like $1 or $2 million. But Rafael Devers is a $300 million man. So I know within this, the idea with Zidane Rafaela might just be, hey, I know I don't want to swing at the first pitch, but it's just out there. It's so juicy. It's right there down the plate. It's right where in my wheelhouse. It's right where I want to be. So is that an issue? Could it be? Boston's above 500, which is where you want to be. They're behind the Yankees by 2 games. They lead Toronto by 1 game, and Tampa Bay by 3. And we won't talk about Baltimore, who's down in the basement again after multiple years of actually doing really good with how they were delivering the team. So that's a damn good question. I'm trying to look up where Zidane Rafaela is so I can actually get his stats for the year. So he's 242 with 2 home runs, 15 RBIs. Not bad. He did not play in the previous game. I mean, he did not play in the current game. So did he play in the previous one? That was a nice one. Garrett Crochet, 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 9 Ks. Looked gorgeous. Garrett Crochet is actually coming into an effect. He's got a 4-2 record. So he's thankfully looking good. Zidane Rafaela went 2 for 5. 2 runs. So, I mean, if he's taking the first pitch and he's going 2 for 5, that's not bad. I mean, could it be better? Sure. But, you know, I mean, looking at like what he is, Rafaela tripled to left. He struck out swinging. He grounded into a fielder's choice. He doubled to left. So 3 out of the 5, basically where he grounded out the third. Okay, he grounded into a fielder's choice to shortstop with Navarez being out to second. Okay. So, and then he struck out swing. So he didn't even hit the ball. He just went 1, 2, 3, good God. Can that be worked on? Yeah. You just have to get on it. Or you're going to have to replace him with somebody, which right now, does the team really want to replace anybody? Well, when you can't really find a first baseman because people want to be absolutely ridiculous, yeah, it's kind of hard to like look at somebody else and be like, hey, can you come up and replace this guy? We want to send him downstairs in order to get a little bit more of like seasoning. Well, when you flip the script and you look at somebody like Rafael Devers, who's a lot bigger on the food chain and also on the totem pole, you know, when he's defying everybody, are you wondering why? So this is going to be a little bit to where, like, I can't get too far fetched into how I feel about Rafael Devers. But the way he's acting is fueling my speculation of wanting him to be traded. And I'll get into that a little bit more also when I bring up my main piece, which is the culture issue. Rafael Devers is an unprecedented hitter. I'll give him that. He's very good at the plate. He does like a little bit more to where like what you want to see, what you expect. And he's everything that you want to do, and then some when he's actually hitting the ball. And he's not starting the season 0-16. However, he's right now going down the pattern of Jackie Bradley from one of the previous years, having a very, very abysmal start to the season and then taking a 30-day or a 20-something game hitting streak and running amok to where he finally went to an abysmal 117 or so, give or take, where that was his batting average. Can that happen to Rafael Devers? It is and can be theoretically possible. Am I saying it's going to happen? No. But history can repeat itself. Other players can lock in and it can happen. And also, Devers could also just get really, really peeved, and all of a sudden it's just 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. Oh! There goes your average. Now, if I'm looking at this, and I want to make sure I am, Devers in himself right now for the 2025 season is batting 280. When we talked about the Red Sox, he was batting, I think, 255. And he was coming up. He's got 7 home runs, so he's got 1 extra. He's got 31 RBIs with 44 hits. The question being, what can they get? Because as of 12 hours ago, Sporting News, Rafael Devers requesting a trade from Red Sox gets timeline update amid position chain issues. So, this is trade rumor speculation. Yay. USA Today's Bob Nightingale reported this on a possibility of a deal. The next step could be Devers formally requesting a trade, which likely would not be strongly considered until the offseason. That would make a good amount of sense. I'm liking the way Bob Nightingale's breaking it down. Devers likely wants to make it through the season, see how the Red Sox handle things as the rest of the campaign goes along. He's committed to the future of the organization. He likely doesn't want to run away too quickly. If things keep going against the grain for Devers, he may wind up still wanting out. And even with the discontent, if Devers requested a trade, he'd get tons of interest. Now, to backtrack with that and looking at this, okay, he's committed his future to the organization. The organization is basically asking you to cover first base because a teammate went down. You're not showing you're committed to the future. You're not committed to the organization because you won't help. Okay? Can you move Trevor Story to first and have him do it? Yes. Who mans second base? Can you move Alex Bregman to first? Yes. What does that do? It puts Rafael Devers at third. Is he a good fielding third baseman? No. You could basically move your shortstop over to first base. Can Rafael Devers even play third? Is he even adequate enough to play, shortstop? No. Now, taking Devers' comments, Devers basically came out and said, I can't move around and I can't play every position. Well, the problem with that is, and this is where Devers needs to understand, They're not asking you to play center field, where it's theoretically impossible. Plus, it's also a huge risk for you to play center field. Are they asking you to play left and right? See my comments for center field. Are they asking you to play shortstop? Are you fucking dumb? You can barely stop a ball at third. You want to play short? They know this. They're not stupid. Second base. See my comments for short. See, when I open the aspects for the Mookie Betts scenario, I did state to the fact that if the LA Dodgers asked Mookie Betts, hey, we got the game here, but we want to have fun with our crowd. Do you mind putting a pickle costume on and selling pickles in the stands? Rafael Devers would probably state his case and say no. Where Mookie Betts is going to sit there and be like, where's the costume? The difference between a player and a commodity is within those two gentlemen. Mookie Betts came into the league as a second baseman. He played shortstop, but he came in and quickly went in the minors to second base. When he got brought up, we still had Dustin Pedroia. Where did he go? He went to the outfield. Why? Because he has the range, he has the talent, he also has the athleticism to balance that out. So he took an outfield position. He was very good. Then you got Jackie Bradley, who came up and they were high up on him. They put him in center. They moved Mookie to right field. Again, strengthening the aspect. When Mookie went to the Dodgers, he played a couple games at second base. Why? Because guys went down injured and he supported his teammates by stepping up. I play that position. I can give you guys a rest and I will go play the position. Don't see a problem there. Did he play shortstop this year or last year? Yes, he did. Same thing. Guys went down an injury. You stay there, I'll man short. Tristan Casas went down with a season-ending injury. Casas coming back this year? No. Is it a problem for the Red Sox? Yes. Is third base similar to first base? Yes. The only difference is you don't have to go smack crazy trying to get a ball, especially in the hot corner that is third. You're catching. You can have a catcher do it. You can have more likely, more things step up to do it. But they're not asking him to step into a variable like shortstop, like third, like second base, like the outfield. Okay? The way he's making his comments is like they want him to catch. Hi, we're going to sit Connor Wong down and we're going to put you as our catcher. That needs to be thought about because that's completely dumb. Is that how it's going? No. Did General Manager Craig Breslow walk up to him and say, can you play first? What did he say? No. Then he goes to the media and says, oh, my teammates love me, blah, blah. Do you think your teammates are going to like you right now? No. Because if I'm one of his teammates and I know that one guy goes down on injury and someone who played third base can actually go to first and cover that injury, is being a wine bag. No, I'm going to go up to him and do exactly what Jonathan Papelbon went on Twitter and said. Dude, just go play first. You're going to make errors. They're going to be okay, because you're not really there. But be a team player. When you're paid $300 million, that's your job. When you want to be the face of the franchise, that's your job. When you also want to be that guy, that's your job. A point to where other people, like, listen, I'm not saying that Rafael Devers is a bad human being. I'm not. I'm not saying he's a bad ball player. Okay? But the point of it is that listening to a friend say that there is a culture issue in Boston. Do I believe that? Yes. The way it was brought up is that if you look at the culture in the Celtics, if Jason Tatum went down, do you think Peyton Pritchard is going to make a complaint? No. He's basically telling him, dude, I got you. So what happens? Peyton Pritchard steps up. He does what he needs to. He steps into the manner that is needed to help and benefit the team. Okay? If Al Horford didn't want to be the main guy, all right? When Kristaps Porzingis stepped away because he was sick, he didn't have that properness. What happens? Well, Al's not going in for him, but he'll state his rotation. He's not going to take on the 3 to 5 extra minutes. No, Horford's going to tell you, give me the 3 to 5 extra. I'll do what I can. If I get gassed, just do me a favor and take me out. But he goes for the team. That's a culture. That's you working together, teammate to teammate, knowing this. Devers is doing a disservice to his team. Why? Can Tristan Costas come and play first base right now? No. Are they saying, hey, Devers, we're going to have you at first base all the time? No. There's times you're going to have to sit in the game. You know, there's times you're going to get somebody else in there. But we want you to be that main guy right now. Okay? This is also a point to where some guys get tested to see how they're going to interact with the team. Devers, I'm sorry, dude. You got paid $300 and something million, okay, to be the baby face of whatever this team. You know? So, yeah, there's all those pieces. There's everything and more. But you can't step to the plate and like help out a person that goes down. That's the part that like basically kicks me directly into the way that it's going. And looking at Sports Illustrated right now as of May 10th, Tim Capurso writes, here's where Devers could land in the unlikely but not implausible scenario in which his relationship with the Red Sox sours beyond repair. So basically, they've got him going to other teams already. So they've got him lined up with the Cubs. Position available, third base and DH. Do they got the payroll? Yep. The Cubs farm system is armed with the type of young MLB-ready talent that would make the Red Sox salivate. The Cubs just so happen to have an opening at third base, where John Birdie and his .64 OPS resides after Matt Shaw badly struggled there early on. The Cubs' willingness to take on a contract as large as Devers is up for debate. It would be the mother of all insurance policies should National League MVP candidate and free agent to be Kyle Tucker depart for the winter. Adding Devers, who's got an 854 OPS, to a Cubs lineup would be a fascinating gambit by the front office. That's beautiful. Next team, Phillies. Positions available, third base. 2025 payroll, $282,000. The farm system doesn't boast the same volume as the Cubs, but they do possess the kind of young pitchers. Number 1 prospect, Andrew Painter. 5 prospect, Moises Chance. Number 8 prospect, Mick Abel. That's a way to do it. They could, however, use a spark to reverse their trend of exiting the postseason earlier with each passing year. And John Middleton isn't afraid to spend his fortune. What's the roadblock? Alex Baum. He currently mans third base for the Phillies. Baum's got a slow start, below average power stroke. How fun would it be seeing Phillies president Dave Dombrowski coordinate a blockbuster with one of the teams he used to run? It's a win. The Nationals. Positions, third base. The Juan Soto trade is bearing fruit in forms of James Wood, C.J. Abrams, and Mackenzie Gore. Okay. James Wood has a 926 OPS. C.J. Abrams got a 300 batting average with 8 stolen bases. Mackenzie Gore has a 3.33 ERA with an MLB high 68 Ks. How about adding Devers as a frontline piece to a tantalizing young core? Would make the Nationals contenders. And yeah, but the question is, what do you get for him at that point? Because you've already got 3 guys that are basically going head over heels and into status. What do you use in order to grab them? Well, the other mentions, you can do the Dodgers, because the Dodgers want everybody. The Brewers, playoff contenders, plenty of trade ammo, and opening at the hot corner. Question being contract. And then the Mets. Well, Steve Cohen's got a large wallet. The Mets farm system can go basically out the door. And you'd have Lindor, Soto, Devers, Alonso would be the MLB's version of the Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my. I like where Tim's going with it. I kind of like the idea of the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Nationals. You get a little bit more out of it, especially with the Cubs having the farm system they have, the Phillies having the resources that they have, but then the Nationals basically looking for something that would front where they're going and how. So, would I ride the pine with one of those? Sure. But what's going to be the lacking decision that basically goes into it? Is it going to be something that comes up with the current general manager? Sometimes when you're tired, holy crap. Just the general manager of the Red Sox. Craig Breslow. Thank you. Or does it come into a bigger piece? Does it come in the form of Alex Cora, who I thought about this when I'm going over a couple things. Cora did not speak in any which way to Devers. So it's either he believes in Devers and has a right, or he just didn't want to make things tight for a person he respects and admires. Either which way, one is the boss, the other one is the player. To talk to him should have been a come up and been like, hey, quick question. How do you feel about first? And the conversation should have been, we've got Casas now. There's no way to step on it. There's no way to do it. Yes, we can look elsewhere, and I know that's what management is going to want. But could we get you on the field and get you on a precedence where you're basically doing a lot of things for the team? Having that conversation should have been Alex Cora's instant gratification to everything. The problem is the conversation never happened. And according to people, the one person who voiced the opinion was Craig Breslow, because he needed to see if his star third baseman, or DH, was up to the task of manning first. Instead of thinking about it, taking some time, it was a hardened no. Now, Boston has to reiterate. But what does that do? It now takes principal owner John Henry to take his private jet, fly down, talk to Devers with Breslow to get to the fact of what's going on. Why? Devers left juicy comments for the weekend for all of Boston media to take. And where is that getting him? Well, it's getting you in trouble with the people you respect and respect you, that will now have a cynical view of what you're doing. You now have Boston media that is eating this up like a frenzy. And then you have the Boston fans who are either looking for your departure, looking for you to be disciplined to the fact of like, dude, just shut up and play the bass, or they're siding with him, understanding his clout because, well, he's the ball player on the team. He should have respect of what he does. All those are valid points. If you didn't sign a $300 million contract. Basically, when you have the world on your shoulders and you're now looked at like as one of the oldest tenured people on the team, you are looked at as that guy that needs to be focused, that guy that everybody needs to look at. That's where you need to be. And there are times you need to step up for your team. I mentioned the aspect of Mookie Betts. I can name other times to the fact that the Red Sox have done so. Carl Yastrzemski playing first base and I believe a hot corner because one of their guys went down sick or even injured. Who else does it follow suit to? Well, it also follows suits to Rico Petrocelli, who also stepped out of his comfort zone to play a different zone because one of the guys got injured for a couple games. It is not unlikely to ask somebody to play something of a similar position. When you blow it out of proportion, especially as the Red Sox do, or even as Devers did, but the media makes it the giant story of the season. Because why is your $300 million player not able to just go and play a base? It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be crazy. It should be something easy. It should be something simple. It should be something effective. It should be something that people reach out and go, hey, this is what we need. Can you give it to us? Or, hey, can we try it for a month and see what happens? Can you cover it for now while we look at options and see how you feel about it? My problem isn't with how the Red Sox are going on about it. My problem isn't to the fact that Devers is saying no. It's that Devers is giving a hard no, not caring. This is supposed to be a quote-unquote your team. You just made the team look as a harder aspect for what is needed of you. What happens if another injury goes down? I mean, if there's a pitching injury, are they going to look to Devers to pitch? No. Would Devers make it a comment? Oh, well, they're probably going to ask me to pitch now. Is that something you should be saying to them? No. And my comment that I was thinking about through the whole time. Enough about what happened basically with David Ortiz. Enough about what happened with Pedro Martinez. Because the issue that they had with the Red Sox front office was real. But did they air out their grievances and make the team look foolish? No. Did they do what they needed to, do their job, and make the game speak for them? Yes. What is it that Rafael Devers could have done? Well, if I'm Devers myself, the first thing I'm basically doing is I'm looking at the team and going, what do you need? First base? Now, if I'm not happy with it, okay, am I going to voice my concerns? Yes. Am I going to do it in a positive way? Yes. Why do we need a first baseman? Well, we got Tristan Casas down. What makes you think I can play first? You played third. It's a mimicked corner. Well, what if I'm no good? We'll work with you. What if I don't like it? We'll revisit it. If he's bringing up his hatred or problems or that therein that's going on with everything, can you blame him for doing so? No. Is he doing that in this situation? Sounds like no. So what happens now? Well, what if Devers goes out, plays first, has a horrible at-bat, horrible everything else, horrible fielding where he can't control the ball, and then goes, they approached me to play first. I know one of my teammates went down, and I was worried about this, and I was worried about this, and now all of a sudden it's like I'm playing first, and it's just not making sense to me. I'm not liking it. I'm giving it a try. Now who's at fault? The Red Sox. Well, technically nobody, because they were giving it a try. Now, if he goes out after 5 games and it doesn't say anything, and then after the 5th game, there's errors galore, there's issues with the bat, there's things that are basically going on. Now it's Cora Devers faces the media and has said, what's going on? We've noticed over the past 5 games that you've taken personal hits. Well, and this is where Devers does it respectively. I was not fond of taking first base. The Red Sox wanted me to work it. I basically, after the first 2 games, I didn't like it. They wanted me to continue for the next 3. I voiced opinion to the fact that I don't like the field. I don't like playing this base. I don't feel comfortable playing the base. It's just not my style. It's not where I am. And it's not something I can do. So I'm a little hogtied right now. You're basically making the Red Sox play defense and understanding that they need to move their star player either back to third or back to DH and get him off first. In that case, you either go sign one of the 3 guys that can play first, or you bring up a guy downstairs, but you fix the issue. Now, if he has a tear where he's made 1 error out of 5 games, and it wasn't even really his fault, it was just anybody could have did it, Okay, he's having a great batting season, like batting time within the 5 games. He's on an absolute tear, more than what he's doing now. Do you look at him and go, hey, maybe you found your calling? Some people do that. My dad liked to bring up the fact of like Jonathan Papelbon, where he came up as a starter and they put him in the bullpen. Papelbon wanted to be a starter, but he found his calling closing out games. It was just, you knew who they were calling in the 9th. You knew where he was coming. You knew where he was going. You knew what he was going to do. It became like clockwork. Do you break that? Or do you work with it? You work with it. You make it yours. You make it what it is. And that's what Devers needs to do. Now, to the point I make about the whole thing where Cora should have been making these comments, is Cora making anything easy with the Devers aspect and is also making anything easy for Craig Breslow? Well, everything saturates within itself. And to somebody's comment where, you know, if you're making these types of decisions and you're not doing something right, and you're not calling games properly, and you're not doing a lot of things that are benefiting the team, and you're not being, well, almost coach of the year, for crying out loud, where does it end and where do the issues begin? Because culture starts with the coach. The coach puts in his culture. If he has this culture with Rafael Devers, what kind of culture does he have with Ceddanne Rafaela? What kind of culture does he have with Christian Campbell? What kind of, culture does he bring to the table with Connor Wong? What type of culture is he doing with Garrett Crochet? What kind of culture is he doing with Brian Bello? Questions? That's the biggest thing. Where is Cora's culture that points out that this is the team that he wants on the field? This is what he's working with. This is where he's working with everybody to make sure that the proper team is doing what they need. When you don't talk to your guy and your general manager has to come in and talk to him because either you didn't or you didn't want to, where are you promoting proper culture in that clubhouse? You're breaking culture. And you were the guy hired to make this culture work. So if Devers ever needed to play first base, you can get him to do it. If Ceddanne Rafaela needed to pitch, there's not going to be an issue. He's just going to go do it. Looking at culture, it starts with the manager. The manager then brings the culture to the general manager of his expectation so he can get the players to work for the manager. The manager then works with the players to lay out his culture. Is everybody with me? This is part of the thing that I don't see in Alex Cora, because some of his culture aspects and some of the things he's doing with some of these games are not winning people over, especially where certain decisions he's making is costing them games. So let me put it in this manner. If the decisions he makes over the year costs them 12-game losses, okay, out of those 12 games, they're out of the playoffs by 2. If Cora made strong decisions and he worked that culture, would they be in the playoffs or tied for playoffs? Yes. This is where it goes back to my stance. Do I feel Alex Cora is a proper manager for the Boston Red Sox? Answer, no. Do I think that's going to be challenged between this year and next? Yes. Do I have a feeling to the fact of, like, with everything, that the sourness coming from either the Red Sox office or Rafael Devers is basically going down unwanted territory? Yeah. And to stake a claim looking at everything, Devers right now is on a hot tear. If you decided to put someone else in his position, would they be good? Would they actually need him, or could they use one of the younger guys in order to balance off what they have with Devers? The answer to that? The younger guy. Devers is 28 years old. By the time I feel to the fact that the Red Sox are going to trade him, he's going to be 30. A $300 million DH is not in the cards. It hasn't been in the cards. And to have anybody grind out to being the everyday hitter, the way they're making Rafael Devers be right now, is not something that they're looking at. Do I feel to the fact that they're going to find somebody that will take on the contract, take on Devers, run with their young team that is poised, praised, and ready to handle themselves for when Marcelo Meyer comes up, for when Roman Anthony comes up? And these guys are going to be baseball ready. They're going to be prim and proper. They're going to take over everything they need to. They're going to be the absolute best of what they need because they're the high tier prospects. At that point, when that happens, whether it happens this year or next year, do you need Trevor Story? No. Is he expendable? Yes. Do you need Devers at that point? No. Is he expendable? Yes. Can you get somebody that will work on a long-term basis in order to handle everything that you're looking at? Yes. Can you do that with one or maybe two players that'll come off the bench while your young stars basically field the team just like they did when they had the outfield of Benintendi, Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts? And then your infield, of all things, was Devers at third with Bogarts at short. That's basically your stud lineup. Now, do you have that waiting in the wings? Yeah. Do you have that ready to actually benefit and turn that on to everything that's going on in the team? Yeah. Are you doing that right now? No. Can things of what Rafael Devers and how he's acting create tension in there? Yes. Are tensions high right now because you don't know where anybody's going to be? Yes. Is the pushback from Rafael Devers causing some of this tension? Yep. Do you think it's also coming from Alex Cora? Yes. That's my opinion for it. How you guys feel about it, you can tell me about it. You can plagiarize it all over the place. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're right, because even with what I'm saying, I may not be wrong. I may not be right. But to look at how they're going versus where their whole scenario should be, There needs to be a stronger outcome. And your manager, or Alex Cora, needs to be the headliner to make the peace with the general manager and his ball player. If he cares more about his ball player, how does he feel about the other guys that are also on the team? If you're focused on your $300 million hitter more so than you're focused on the guy who's basically rocking your team pitching wise and hitting wise, that's doing better than Devers. Well, probably not in like certain things now, but they're still making their mountain and making their bones because they were signed as what it was. And personally, do I think Cora and Bregman have a little bit more history? Yeah. Do I think that's nudging the wedge between here and Rafael Devers? Yes. Am I seeing more of the problem that's basically going along with it? Yeah. But here's the part that you can't deny. Put yourself in Rafael Devers' shoes for a minute. You know you're in Boston and you're hearing everybody talk about your defense. You know it's horrible. You know to the fact that ESPN says it. You know to the fact that baseball statistic guys say it because your WAR impact is horrible. Do you do anything to benefit what you're doing for third base? No. You go in, you hit the weights, you do everything, you take the training. Do you try to do better at the hot corner? No. It's basically business as usual, and that's the worry. $300 million guy, you should be bettering yourself every year. If you don't do that, and you're just staying the same, by the time you hit 32, you're kind of going to be off the planet. Now, here's where I want you to really put yourself in his shoes, though. If you know to the fact that you need to support your teammates, the way your teammates support you. If you well know that you are really bad at third base. Now, could you do 5 games a month at third? Sure. Did you have that conversation? Nobody knows. The one thing that came out of it was there was no compromise, there was no anything, but they went out and they needed someone who was going to play hard and someone who was going to give them the best analog piece to play either DH, second, third, etc. So pieces were going to be shifted around if this player was signed. Well, Bregman was signed. He said yes to the deal. Where are you putting him? Third base. What does that do for your current third baseman? Moves him along. Now, if anybody wants to feel bad for anybody, okay? Does anybody feel bad for, I believe it's Masahiro Tanaka? Anybody? Why do I ask this question? That's very easy. Because if I'm looking at Masahiro Yoshida, I don't know why I said but Yoshida's a left fielder. And he got signed, big contract. Okay. Came over from Japan, signed the big contract, playing with the Red Sox. He started on the DL. Well, the injured list. So he has yet to even start this year. So, where do you put him? See, Devers has like 3 options. Devers, you can put him at third. You're attempting to put him at first. And you're also attempting what? To make him a DH. Yoshida, you can put in the outfield and take away the defensive prowess and also the culture build that you're doing with the outfield. You can put him at DH, but now you've got a permanent DH in Rafael Devers. My curiosity is, are you attempting to put Devers at first base while having Yoshida come back to be your DH? If so, I'm on Devers' side from here in, because it's an ample thought. Okay? Yoshida got a cortisone shot a few days ago, and he's going to be shut down from throwing for 3 days. That's from Jen McCaffrey of The Athletic. Now, if Yoshida comes back, he's throwing, he's strong, could he play first? It's possible. But he's never played a base. He's played a field. Devers has played a base. He knows the expectation. It's a little bit easier for him to work into playing another base, especially one that's mirrored from where he is. Now, if you're not saying to the fact that Yoshida playing left field, because multiple other people have done it, can't come in and play first base because Bryce Harper has done it. We can talk about famous catchers like Carlos Santana, who's come in and gone from catcher to first. Joe Mauer, near the end of his career, couldn't do the squats. Really painful when he went down to actually catch. Where did he go? First base. It's possible. It's anything you can do. But have there been outfielders that can play first base? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. These are things that could shake up the lay of the land with everything as everybody goes into. So, those are big questionnaires, big pieces, and everything that you got to look at and more. But when you get down to it, what's going to be the benefit for the Red Sox? That's where I've got to draw the line. My line goes as follows. The Red Sox need to, A, do what's best for them. They need to work as a team to make them better. But they also need to get the characteristic to get culture in that locker room. Devers needs to learn his culture by either going the Red Sox way or working with the team where he's not blowing a gasket or making a impromptu piece upon how he's acting. And at the end of the day, there's more stuff that needs to be done. This team needs to benefit from where they were last year to this year. Okay? I posted on X. Okay? This was earlier. And I'm trying to make sure I can find it. So Tom Caron brought this up 2 days ago, and I brought it up days before him. Sox are a quarter of the way through the season. They're one game behind the last year's mark. The team overachieved to that point. This team is underachieved to this point. Will they get it going in the weeks ahead? So their record was 21-19 last year. They were 20-20 this year. Team average was 243 versus 250 for this year. So they're already going up. As I stated during our basically friendly sit down within how I felt about the games. Runs a game, it was 4.3 last year versus 4.8. The run differential was plus 33 last year. It's plus 18 this year. The team ERA last year was 2.75. The bullpen is not making this easy when they're actually a 3.79 this year. Is there constructive pieces from last year to this year? Yes. Will Devers going to third help that? Well, it allows the DH to have a fluctuating position to where you can put anybody for a lefty or a righty and play the aspect. And it also keeps Devers' bat in the lineup, which will be monumental. Does it make a risk at first? A little bit. But if he can play catch, if he can start fielding and see how first base feels with him, it can make that big of a deal. Can you do that? The only person to ask that question and answer it is Rafael Devers. A lot of people have said he's doing right by making his choice. I, along other people, are thinking to the fact that he overstepped his bounds and he needs to understand where, culture starts in this manner. Besides with the manager, it starts with the big guy or the big dog in the yard. Devers right now is that big dog. You've been here about since you were 21 years of age. You got a monumental deal at $300 million for your bat with questionables on your defense. Is it something to where at some point you could have shifted to first base and made more money doing it over the past 2 years? Yeah. First basemen do not need a lot of aspects. They do not need a lot of pieces, nor the agility or the athleticism that, say, a third baseman, a second baseman, or somebody like that would need. Is Devers basically playing the game in a question mark ability? Yes. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not saying he's no Pablo Sandoval, but I'm also not saying to the fact he's no Alex Rodriguez. The thin line is you and your team need to find your culture. And when you find your culture, you need to build on that. You need to work as a team, work as a unit, and find ways to make things better. How do you do that? Take up a new base. Take up a hobby. Work with everybody around you. Work with the general manager. Work with the manager. If he feels to the fact he has favoritism for the guy that they just signed, say something and bring it up to him. If he doesn't want to say anything, if he wants to be a cowardice about like a lot of things, which I believe Alex Cora is, say something after 10 games. Say something after 1 month. Say something after 15 days. Make it well known. And if the Red Sox don't want to do it in a proper manner. Don't come out with your translator and just say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm better than this. They came up and asked me. They're asking me to play everywhere. Okay. No, you're drawing conclusions and you're acting like a child. You can stop right there. and look at what the benefit of what you can do versus what you can't do. Can you play short? No. Can you play second? No. Can you play the outfield? No. Can you catch? Yeah, but not as a catcher. Hey, Rafi, can you pitch? No, you can't. So if I'm a GM, not being a coach GM, mind you, but if I'm a GM and I'm looking at Rafael Devers and I'm telling him, like, listen, I know you played third. I know you struggled at third. First might be a better option for you. You may get better options and you may get better scenarios of everything going on with you where you could reinvent who you are, and instead of being worth 300 million, you could be worth 500 million just by playing first. We're not asking you to play the outfield. We're not asking you to play the other infields. But your prowess at third base could be monumental at first. Now, whether or not that's how it was said, that's how I would approach it. Hey, this isn't an attack on you, but do I need to do what's best for you? Yes. You are my teammate. You are also one of the guys on the team that I need to work with and make sure everything goes well. Do I need to look at the other 25 guys on the roster besides you that are working and doing everything they can in order to make the team work? Yes. It's not just about you. That's the culture aspect. That's the culture conversation. Is it about you? No. Is it about the team? Yes. What are we doing about the team? We're trying to make it better. If putting you at first for the next 15 games and seeing how you do, dude, you could suck bags. Horrible bags. You go back to DH. You could be a stud at first base. Where teams are not, hey, are you guys still having problems with Devers? Is he available? No. Really? Yeah. He's our first baseman. Could you make more impact at first base than you can at third? Yeah. You could have been already doing it. Instead of talking about how great Rafael Devers is for taking the challenge and going to first base, we're talking about Weinbag Devers, who didn't want to go to a DH position, to he doesn't want to go to first base. Probably if you trade him, he's not going to want to go there either. It's lose. It's everybody hates it. Everybody goes awry. Oh, I'll give you the final scores and everything like that of like what it was for like the day. And then after that, we're going to call it a night. Because I'm frankly getting sick and tired of talking about Rafael Devers. That's me getting sick and tired of talking about Rafael Devers. And I know I'm probably going to have one or two people that come on and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to like show the momentum. And it's going to be like one of the big stories and everything like that. And everybody's going to continue talking about it. But can I state to the fact that like the one thing I hate saying is I hate calling somebody a wine bag when they're being a wine bag. Okay. It's the same thing with when you look at Alex Cora and you call him a cheater and you call him a bullshit artist. The same thing with John Henry. Do I do it as much anymore? No. Why? Because the man signed a long-term deal with the Red Sox. Is it affecting them right now? Yes. Am I making sure to the fact that my methods were heard? Yes. Is it going to change anything right now? No. So I'm not giving him the time of day. I could care less. This is the first time in a while I've said anything besides to the fact that Alex Cora needs to go. I said it a bit. I said it easily. I'll make it within my stride. Either which way. Here's the scores. NBA, OKC beating Denver 92-87, tying up the series 2-2. It's a big game between the number 1 seed and Denver being the number 3, I believe. Everything going like within it, and like right now we're going to game 5 on that one. Within Indiana, a 41-point lead in the half turned into a 129-109 victory for the Pacers over the Cleveland Cavaliers, as they basically blew out their opponents to take a 3-1 series lead. One of the side notes in that is Donovan Mitchell does have an injury that will be possibly looked at. It does look like an ankle, so that could sideline him for a game or maybe 2, or he might be out for the whole time. And also, as goes, Mathurian was ejected after punching Indiana Pacers star Hunter in the chest, and that looked to be within the first 7 minutes of the game. It was a flagrant foul too, and he was basically told to take a walk. As far as the NHL goes, Dallas beating Winnipeg 5-2. I've always said it 5-2. Dallas taking a lead in the series 2-1. And Toronto beat Florida. Toronto lost to Florida by a shutout. Florida scoring 2-0. That series is tied 2-2. Celtics will play Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They will take on the Knicks in Madison Square Garden for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. And then lead them off into after their big win on Saturday. And then the Red Sox, who played yesterday, 3-1 winners. Luis Giolito getting the win. And for Kansas City, Seth Lugo getting the loss. Roldis Chapman taking up save number 6. And Rafael Devers homering to center with Jared Duran scoring in the 6th, driving in the winning 2 runs. Red Sox will be on tomorrow, taking on the Detroit, Texas? No, Tigers. Oh, man. I think the next time I do this, I'm actually going to write this down because I actually want to kind of like get used to doing this. So this will be like my worthwhile piece. But you guys can laugh at me all you want and make comments. It's fine. I'm an ass. Oh. And this will be like my final basic thought. You know, the one thing that I get about Boston sports with a lot of other sports is teams have their own mindset. They have their own ways of doing things, and it's what the culture and the fan base is basically looking for. The guy that argues with you that Rafael Devers sucks and needs to be traded is the same guy that will basically tell you that Rafael Devers needs to stay and he's the heart and soul of the team, to where you can compare it to someone like Marcus Smart. Now, if you look at Marcus, he was probably loved by half, hated by half. Marcus Smart hater right here. But when they got rid of Marcus Smart, did they win a championship? Yes. Can you now look at the fact of like, was Marcus Smart the cause of that whole piece? That could be possible. Can you look at the team right now? Is Marcus Smart anywhere near a playoff team? No. Are the Celtics in contention this year? Yes. Are they a better off team? Yes. Culture and standing make a wide variety, but it doesn't just go in Boston. LA, Detroit, Kansas City, Florida, they all have their cultures. They all have their means and methods of making wins. Whether or not they actually have like a horrible culture in Colorado where they just fired their manager and everything's going on, that's remains to be seen. The culture is going to change in New Orleans now that Derek Carr is retired. What's the benefit to that? Culture between your quarterback, where he's supposed to be your de facto leader. That makes a big standing, and it also makes a big punch with everything going on. But it also has negative effects. Culture like one in LA with the Lakers, where you have LeBron James who thinks he's king than everything, and then you have the other players that just basically want to go and play and have fun and state to the fact that, hey, I play with LeBron James. Now, are they making proper to the fact of that? Or can they do better? Always the question. But some cultures can be positive, some can be negative. We're happy to the fact that like we have culture being built all over the place in Boston. Right now, the Red Sox need to up their culture game. The Celtics are showing to the fact that their culture is stronger than ever. The Bruins, I think they need a culture shock. And right now, between the offseason and also how the draft played out and everything else that's going along with the Patriots, Mike Vrabel's culture building, well, right now it's seeing wonderful stars. Gold stars for Mikey. So take it in stride when someone gets really, really upset or really like understanding that like, hey, this is going on. Hey, I don't want to see this. I don't want to do this. I kind of want to like enjoy the aspects of what I do. Somebody might be just embracing the culture that they take from the team. Nobody is ever wrong with their opinion. Their opinion is exactly like assholes. Everybody has one. Whether or not you want it to take over your life is your choice. I hold my ground with where my culture is, but I also hold my ground with where my thoughts and my process is. I said thoughts and prayers. It's like, no, I don't have a lot of those. But I have thoughts and I also do have processes that basically, drive everything as it goes. So, to this, if you've hung out, if you've been here, I've seen a couple people like that actually are hanging out, and I thank you immensely. Lurking, being in the chat, or otherwise is a huge monumental occasion. Chatters, at some point, hopefully I'll get them. But my culture right now is building something that people want to listen to. So if you've been here, if you've been listening to me, thank you much. If you listen to me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcasts, thank you again. It means a heck of a lot. And hopefully you guys will join me again next time when I'm here on Thursday. We'll talk about actually, it'll be a double go. We'll be talking about the Celtics and how their games went Monday and Wednesday. We'll bring up a little bit more within Devers Gate and how that's rocking. Might want to try to talk a little bit of Patriots because I don't want to leave them out because they're rocking and rolling within everything that they're doing. And then hopefully we'll have some more news on where the Bruins are going with their head coaching. So there's always options for there. And to top off again as one of our stories, Derek Carr has made his decision to retire from the game of professional football. He's 34 years old, and with his tear in his rotator cuff and also how it is going to impact, it was going to take a majority of the 2024 season. He has decided to hang it up. So we wish him all the best. But now it is time for us to get some rest, to do what we do, and enjoy everything as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Topher, and I thank you for joining Boston Concessions, our Boston-based sportscast right out of the heart of Boston. We are an SSBN podcast. We're part of the guys' Small State Big Network, or Small State Big Takes. They're down in Rhode Island. All of them are absolutely beautiful human beings. We will be back, like I said, Thursday night, Thursday into Friday, 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to join us, and we'll get the ball rolling with everything we do. Until then, be safe. Go Celtics. Go everybody. And please have a phenomenal week. Take care.